What's up, everybody? Coming back with another deck profile for you guys today. This time going over the red Broly swap that I played at this past weekend's pre-release. Managed to get top 4, so I got the Gohan Piccolo and some packs. Pack pulls were kind of bleh, so I can't complain too much since I was able to finish this deck before the tournament. So let's get into what I ran and go over one of the new decks that comes out of set 11, Red Broly Swap. So we have pretty much the early chain here. You start off with your 1-drop Broly Saiyan Youth. All the pieces have varying degrees of swap. But he has a permanent. If you have a red BR card in play, he gets 1100 power. So he is a 15k attacker if you have Ba on the board. And when this card is played, you can't play copies of this card for the turn. So they did a very wise design decision with this deck in terms of limiting just how many times you can go up the chain. After the 1-drop, we have the 3-cost Broly Bonafide Saiyan. He will have the keyword Servant, so he gets plus 10,000 power, so he's in 19k body for a swap of free. He's a free swap into this guy here. And when he's played, you can choose up to one Paragus BR card with an energy cost of 1 in your hand and play it. And that Paragus that we're going to be playing is this Paragus here. Paragus Oath of Vengeance. He has unique. He also has the keyword Overlord, where once per turn you can put one of your battle cards with the Servant skill at the bottom of your deck to draw 1 card. When Paragus is played, you look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 red Broly BR card or 1 red Unison card with a specified cost of 1 among them, and add it to your hand. We'll go over that Unison that we choose later on in the profile. But for the most part, he's grabbing all your pieces. Things start getting interesting when you swap into the 4-drop. They all have a swap of 1, so for 1 red energy, swap into a mono red Broly with an energy cost of 4. You'll be going into this guy here, Broly Power of the Great Ape. He also has Servant, and when he's played, you can choose up to 1 of your red Unison cards, add a marker to it. Then your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends it to their warp. At the end of your opponent's next turn, they add the card that was sent to their warp from this skill back to their hand. The 4 cost, the 5 cost, and the 6 cost card all have varying degrees of this effect. So it's almost like a pseudo 4-scene hit. He has a Servant skill, so he's not really 10k. He's actually going to be at 20k when he's successfully summoned to the board. For a swap of 1 up from the 4-drop, we have the 5-cost SS Broly Combat Evolution. This one has critical and almost the same effect. However, you cannot swap into the 6-drop unless your opponent has 3 or more energy or you have 4 or more energy. So that comes in handy, especially like if your opponent goes first, they're going to get to 3 energy before you. So on your 3rd turn, you can pretty much put this guy in. On your 3rd turn, you can pretty much put this guy in to go into the 6-drop SS Broly Unlimited Power. He has the keyword Unique, Critical, and he has Double Strike. And when he's played, you can choose up to 3 cards in your opponent's hand and send them to the warp, and he'll add 2 markers to the Unison that you choose. And of course, we are also running the brand new secret rare SS4 Broly, the Great Destroyer, his ultimate barrier, Double Strike. You get this guy into play by sending this one to the drop, and then when he comes into play, you can choose 1 of your mono red leader cards, and it gets plus 10k power until the start of your next turn. And then all cards in your opponent's leader area, battle area, and combo area get negative 5,000 power combo power, which is really strong because when your opponent tries to crack back, they'll have to waste more cards to try to do damage to you. Because our leader, which we kind of forgot to go over a little bit, but on the backside, once per turn, you add 1 card from your life to your hand, and he gains critical for the turn. So he's a 10k crit off the jump. And then once per game, you can add up to 1 red extra card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. And you negate that skill for the rest of the game. And when your life is at 4 or less, you untap 2 to flip them over, and you get this bad boy here. If you have a red Broly BR card, which we should if you're swapping into all your pieces correctly, he'll have critical. When he attacks, you draw a card, and then he gets plus 5k power for the battle. So he's going to be a 20k crit swing a majority of the time. And if your opponent actually manages to kill any of the Broly BR chain by KOing them, or if they're removed from the board by a skill, you choose 1 Broly BR card, you discard a card, choose 1 Broly BR card with an energy cost of 4 in your hand, and play it. So even if they manage to get rid of, say, a 1-drop and you're on the Awaken side, you can get your 4-drop in for free if you have it in hand by discarding a card. Comes in pretty handy. All that critical pressure makes Bardock the Resolute a nice selection for this deck. He's got double strike unique, and if your leader is red, which our leader is, and if your opponent takes that crit damage, this guy's a free play. And when your opponent activates a counter skill, you'll be able to untap him as well. I'll be checking 1 double strike Trompa because double strike is awesome, especially with crit. The deck does have a little bit of trouble managing hand size, so we play 2 copies of Bardock Awaken Instincts to get additional draw power. And on the turns when we're not really summoning anybody and we have the open energy, Topo is live as a way to protect our battle cards as well as our leader. You're going to go to 4 really quickly with this deck. Usually by turn 2, you're probably awakening and going up the chain, ripping cards out of your opponent's hand and trying to finish your opponent as fast as possible. One of the ways to achieve making sure that you get your chain pieces comes in the form of the Unison we play for the deck, Kale, Savage, Berserker. So when she's played, you can look up to 3 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 mono red Saiyan card among them, and then you put the rest at the bottom of the deck. So being that they're looking for mono red Saiyans, almost the entire lineup that's of your Broly swap package is searchable, because they're all mono red Saiyans. And you can even search for the super combo, which we're using Raditz Saiyan Youth. He is a mono red Saiyan, and this is one of the new super combos from set 11, where you take a card in your hand, and you put it to the bottom of the deck and draw 2 cards. She also is able to get out the Secret Rare, because the Secret Rare is a mono red Saiyan. So this is really versatile and has a lot of uses just based off of that first effect there. Her other order is once per turn, when one of your red battle cards activates a swap skill, you get to add a marker to this card. So she comes in for 1, and if you have the 1-drop on board and swap into the 3, she'll gain an additional marker. And then if you go from the 3 to the 4, she won't gain an additional marker, but the 4 will put an added marker on her with its ability. The 5-drop also has that effect, and the 6-drop, as we said before, is able to put up to 2 markers on her. So she's able to get up to 5, 6, maybe even 7, and you want to get her at 7 because then she has an activate main where you choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards, and it gets negative 15k power for the turn. Then choose up to 1 mono red battle card with an energy cost of 5 or less and a swap skill in your hand and play it. So if you're looking to go up a chain, or do some of the combos where like you have the 6-drop on board, you attack with it, you activate this guy, you get rid of your 6-drop, and if she's at 7, you pay the negative 7. The 5-drop should be in your hand if you swapped into this one, so then you get to play the 5 again. So then your board is this guy, 5-drop, leader swing. Like, it's just a lot of crazy combo potential. Ba is there to give our little 1-drop guy a boost, but it's also a blocker. And when he's played, he also searches for a mono red Broly BR card with an energy cost of 5 or less from your deck to your hand. So you get to search whatever chain pieces you are missing. So it could be the 3-drop, the 4-drop, or the 5-drop. This card is super important for the deck. Sometimes I did hard cast it. Sometimes he was energy. I'm aware that there is a tournament pack card that summons this guy from the deck. That card's going to be very nasty with this deck. Probably going to be a little on the pricey side too, because it's definitely a very important part of this deck. Now, that leader over there is able to get 1 cost extra cards, and going into the extra card that is for the deck, it's 1 copy of Planet Vampa. And Vampa is essentially a field spell. Once per turn, if your leader card is red, Broly BR, you add 1 card from your life to your hand. You look at the top 7 of your deck, and you can play 1 Broly BR, Paragus BR, Bob BR, or Golemite BR card with 5,000 power or less among them. You shuffle your deck, and then if you play the card using that particular ability, you choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. So it's a nice way to get a piece of the chain in for free, or if you find the Ba and you're missing everything else, you at least get to summon the Ba and then search up whatever you're missing. Another key card to go for the chain is New Model Scouter. This card is very interesting. Worked for me the entire day. I only took 1 loss, which is why I got top 4, but this card came in clutch every single game. Look at the top 7 cards from the top of your deck, and you choose up to 2 red Freeze's Army cards with the energy cost of 4 or more among them, and add them to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So with the Broly BR swap package, the 4-drop, the 5-drop, and even the 6-drop all have Frieza's Army on them. So it's able to search out any multiple copies of those cards that you want to add to your hand. And if you sometimes open both of them, you have your negates of choice to choose from. 2 copies of Violent Ray, 2 copies of After Image Technique. Violent Ray is interesting because you can stop 20k power battle cards from swinging at you. 20k or more battle cards, or even Unisons with 20k power or more, and that's for the turn. So it's almost like a pseudo Nimbus if you chuck a red card to give it any of those additional effects. Outside of that, it's just a standard 1-cost red negate. After Image saves lives, and it's a red deck, and you know, it just does what it does. We were able to use side decks for this tournament, so it wasn't a best of 1 event. So we did have a side deck. I didn't like too many of my options, but like I had another copy of Violent Ray, an extra copy of Vampa just in case I ran into anyone playing some type of field spell hate. Tried out Planet M2. I put this in against Soul Striker, and I put this in against another matchup, and it came in handy. Prerelease technique came in against Soul Striker. It's the only matchup that I used it in. But basically, it's a negate, and then if your leader is a red Frieza's Army, which Broly BR is, you choose your opponent's leader card and all of their battle cards. They get negative 5k power for the turn. So if they don't swing with let's say they swing with a battle card first, and their leader's awakened, so now they gotta do extra combo power to try to do any kind of damage to you. 2 copies of Denial of Hope. I don't think I put this in at all, but I felt like I'm a red deck and I should have this card in my side deck. 3rd copy of After Image. This guy put in a lot of work over the course of the tournament. It's just an extra overwhelm for double strike critical. 20k is an amazing card. This card came in, I think, 2 different matches. Pretty much won me the games that he came in. Just blows up boards, or if he's in your hand, you can get rid of problematic barrier cards. And then this card didn't really do as much as I wanted it to when I put it in. I was trying to sort of like test in the tournament how I could play this in more of a mid-rangey strategy as opposed to just straight up aggro. It definitely has the capability to be like aggro control or mid-range for that matter, but I don't think this card's like as important for that. You want to find the chain pieces, you want to go up the chain, you want to start ripping cards from your opponent's hand, and you want to start swinging with critical pressure as soon as possible, because the less cards they have in their hand, your 5-drop and 6-drop get to do a lot of big work, and then eventually you pressure them with the secret rare and other cards, and then you just go hard with double strike as well. So that's the profile. Top 4 red Broly swap. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and let me know. Stay super, etc. Take care.